for all.
Good evening, everyone. Nice seeing everybody. Rebecca, I haven't seen you for a while. Welcome. Okay, so I think we're going to possibly have a very short agenda. A couple of people who were supposed to be on the agenda will not show up tonight. So we will start with first, I wanted to congratulate us. I mean, not just us, but the Village of Great Neck for actually being the first village that gets their street paved. I believe that we finished, even though we were not responsible. But I want to thank Nassau County for finally doing it. We were the first village, so that's great. Um, are they all the way down to Old Mill?
I did not get a chance to check.
Huh?
No, they started in
No,
Red
they
Brook.
started from North going south. Anyone knows if they went down? Old Mill. Yeah, good. So that's where they were supposed to, and then tomorrow they're going to start milling. No, they're not doing it tomorrow?
They have to do some work at Barstow
Again?
down at Plaza.
Oh.
Once they're done, then they're gonna start milling there.
They're going to continue going south. Right?
Correct.
Anyway, so our village is done, but not that it's going to make that much of a difference. Still, we have to drive to the other villages. So with that, we can just start with the Nassau County Police.
Yep, that's County Police report for month of March 2022. As you could see, there was no burglaries, no burglary to the businesses, no robberies, 3 auto larceny, 2 other larcenies, and 1 criminal mischief. You can see the list of accidents in front on the screen.
Are we having less accidents than previous months? Oh,
There's
not
only 2
previous.
pages. It used to be 3
Yeah.
pages.
There was just one at Hickson Forest. Failure to yield right away, so that's an intersection. Middle Neck and Baker Hill following too closely. It's
Middle
notable,
Neck.
really, I mean, thankfully, only one of the accidents, no, I'm sorry. 3 of the accidents had reported injuries. One of them was due to defective brakes.
And the one on Millbrook?
Millbrook was speeding.
The Millbrook also, there was a 1-car accident. She turned into the street and then she jumped the curb and she hit the wall by herself.
Oof.
This happened on beginning of March.
Yeah, they were speeding.
Okay, well, I think one thing we have to realize is there's so much you can do. Bad driving to bad driving.
Yep.
Okay. I think everywhere that we have so far put in the stop signs, it has decreased the number of the accidents. So that's a good thing. And what is it, Berkshire?
No, Hampshire.
No, but we did Hampshire and Hicks.
Hampshire and Baker.
Hampshire and Fairview.
Hampshire. Oh, the
We did
stop
Hampshire
sign.
and Fairview, Hampshire and
Baker.
and then we did
Forest Row and Hicks.
Forest, Row, and Hicks. Right.
Talking about flashing LED
Yeah.
lights.
Yeah. So there was one accident at Forest Row and Hicks, but that's a lot better than we used to.
Person was on the phone.
It's what person was on the phone?
Yep.
How do they know that? They admit it?
The other person who was involved in the accident supposedly said that.
Hearsay. If anybody's been watching the
Okay.
Johnny Depp show.
Okay, so let's go.
Mayor, under old business 187 195 Steamboat Road, the applicant has requested for the item to be tabled.
Okay.
This afternoon also I got a request from the applicant at 733 741 Mill Neck Road for their item to be tabled as well.
Okay.
Any explanation?
They did not. They just said we are not going to show up.
That's,
If
You
you
got
bought
the
the
drinks.
donuts or something. You know.
and also, Alert is not coming. Is that
Right.
right?
Yes. The next item under new business is a request for a parade for an organization called Iran for Social Justice. Mr. Nazmil, are you here?
No.
Gentleman is not here, so I don't know.
That is a really big parade.
yes last year?
He did say yes last year. They held it, yes.
A gentleman that ran through the whole
Yes.
Just one of the,
Yep.
He was it just him running, or there's a bunch of people joined him?
Not sure exactly how it was, but he basically raised money to run.
He did this last year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Same guy.
And then he had an issue how to send the money. He found some humanitarian organization that helped him distribute the money inside the country.
Do you know which one?
No. I was expecting him to come. I was in contact with him, and he said he's going to come tonight.
It's like a 5-mile run. Yeah,
It's around Great Neck. This is a last year.
yeah, it's very big.
The walk, isn't it? The walk?
No, he runs.
Is a run. He runs around Great Neck and Kings Point. He has changed his route. I asked him for a new route map.
This
I
is not it?
didn't. This is not it. This is last year's,
Okay.
but it's still he expanded it. Going to table to see as well.
Yeah, table it.
Okay.
When
I
is
could
it
show you
for?
my running rabbits, my front yard.
When is it for?
Give me
August 20th.
Oh,
25 minutes, I could do
he has
that.
plenty of time. Okay.
The next item is a request by the Great Neck Alert. They are looking into do some site improvement on Steamboat Road property that they have, but they also asked the item to be tabled late this afternoon. The next item is a
did you
request. The next item is a request by for a peddler's permit by Mr. Altaf Nabijat.
Is he here?
He's not here. He submitted his application as well as the permits that he have received from the town of North Hempstead as well as Nassau County. He has also applied for other villages within the peninsula.
Oh, this
He-
is for the,
Ice cream, Mr. Softy Ice Cream. He also submitted all his insurances, including liability, worker comp, disability, and his car insurance. His truck
He's
insurance.
missing all this?
No, he submitted everything. I just didn't want to put it in online.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No
And
accidents.
No accidents, right?
No,
Okay. How many years has he been doing it?
I can reach out to him. But
No, but, I mean, he hasn't always been the guy.
no, the other person did not apply, so I'm assuming maybe he bought the truck. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
the other person would
I
have
know.
come by now.
He's older. He's doing it for a
He
while.
said that last year. He said this is the 30th year that he has done it.
30th?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, next
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
It's a 30th.
Do we need a motion?
Yep.
Motion to,
You're right.
motion to grant the permit. I so moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I think it was
Unanimous.
seconded by the same person. It was moved.
Oh, okay. Well, why not?
He has
The next item is to appoint election inspectors for upcoming election on June 21st. My suggestions are Jill Tornado for Republican chair and Selma Tornado for Republican inspector. The Democrat chair, I called few people, they have not reached back to me, so that to be determined. And Sarah Khodadadian for Democrat inspector.
Okay.
Is there?
Yes, Sarah.
Yes.
Go to Dottie.
No,
No.
she's not.
Sarah Rivka Kodadadian. Is that you?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, she
it.
is. in the
Oh,
back.
there. Oh, that's you?
Yeah.
Ah. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, she did what at the library? She did the same thing at the library?
I didn't know.
You were an inspector at the library also?
No, she ran.
No, she ran for the. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I don't vote for. I can't vote in Great Neck.
Right. Okay.
Is there a motion to appoint the inspectors as presented?
I'll move that.
Moved by the deputy mayor, seconded by trustee Hope. All in favor?
I just wanted to ask a question. What's going to happen to the Democratic chair?
As soon as one of the three people that they called, they returned my phone call, we can appoint at the next meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
The The next item is the two landscaping proposals that we have received regarding the medians on Middle Neck Road. The first one is from Village Landscaping. The proposal is for 165,000 for planting, including removing all the debris, sand and fill. You could see boxwoods, and including mulch and clean up the entire job site. That would be the initial 165,000. The maintenance of it also, they have, it's a $9,400 that they have.
Are they talking about 200 crepe myrtles at 6 to 7 feet?
Yep.
6 to 7 feet? That
Medians.
doesn't seem like a realistic.
Abraham, I can't see that far. The total
Oh, you
cost
get-
of the proposal is under 35,000?
65,000.
No, 165,000.
Right,
That's a
160.
bid project.
I know, so the next one is less than 35,000.
Oh, okay, you're going through the different proposals, sorry.
Most of it. The next one is 35,000.
But didn't we tell them that we don't want 6 to 7 foot trees in
We
it?
did. We did.
The next proposal is
200 and 500 bucks.
$34,999.
Okay.
$34,999.
Oh, okay.
Not yet,
When we, yeah, of course.
but not yet.
Not yet.
We
Let's
have another
just
proposal.
hear both, and then you can definitely talk about it. But show me. Can you show me?
This is the first proposal that we received.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think they should. No, it's not.
I mean, they're pretty. 200?
This is the proposal that they came up with.
I mean, I thought it was very, um, clear about
500
not-
boxwoods would line the, that's,
So I think one of the things that we need to
I
realize,
mean,
all these
you
plants
speak in
actually,
the-
all these plants grow. So if you put so many of them, they get so dense
tight,
that
yeah, you
it's
can't
not,
put 500 of anything.
no.
Is it possible to get another,
Yeah,
We
we have
have-
another
we have
proposal.
another
This is the second proposal that we have. It's from Flores and Sons Landscaping. Actually, this
I
one is
know
a
them
local.
actually, yeah.
This one doesn't really make sense either.
This one is local. So this one does not include any trees or anything. This is just the labor.
Mhm.
The labor is at 35,000 for the initial planting. The village has to buy everything for them, and they would plant it.
Right,
And then they have a annual contract, maintenance contract of 16,000. They'll come every other week or every week to maintain the median. However, the irrigation is not included. Shh. The irrigation is not included in the price. The irrigation has to be
I don't
done.
think-
The irrigation has to be done by the village, not by the.
Right.
But why didn't they include any, like plantings?
The plants I didn't, because that's something that the village would directly pay.
So
I
they can
have it
give
on
us
my,
suggestions and we can buy
Yeah.
it directly because we don't have to
Right.
pay
you can
taxes.
save money then.
right, that way
Save
you
money
save
and you don't
money
have
on
to go-
tax as well.
See, if you pay them and then they pay the other ones, they have to pay taxes. So this way we definitely can save money.
We save on that one as well as sometimes they add, when they order, they also add some sort of a service fee, like a 5-10% to it.
Mhm.
But like this, when they get delivered directly to the village, they just charge for the labor rather than for the material.
And when would they be able to start? Because
I spoke to the gentleman, he said as soon as, whenever we order the material, when we order the trees and the plants, whenever it comes in, we can.
How much are you talking about saving wise if we ordered ourselves and give the project to Flores?
with the tax.
So you saw in the other one that they want to order 200 boxes of, this is going to be more practical. We estimate
Can we
that
get some more estimates, or are we really at the end of the road?
this is the only two that we could get. We reached out to many, they're not interested.
And I think you also have to realize that
Santilli's
you
not-
can always
not
add
interested.
more,
Mhm.
but you don't want to put so many because after a year they grow.
No, I know.
And
I'm
I-
just
I
wondering if
think-
this guy has enough maintenance. One time spring cleanup.
That's the first one. The
Yeah.
second one is a
second one is
weekly.
a-
Oh, right. I'm sorry. The second one is better.
Yep, it's a weekly maintenance,
Yeah,
the other one
that's
for,
better.
but it's much more expensive, it's 16,000.
That's
Okay.
okay.
for the
It's-
summer.
so it's-
Yeah, I think it's
If you
worth.
need it, we're gonna
Yeah.
be paying for it anyway.
Yeah.
If they don't do it.
If they don't do it, then we have to deal with the.
Mhm.
But he gave a proposal, Trustee Kashi, regarding material. His proposal is between 35 to 40,000 for shrubbery and trees
And
same
soil
shrubberies
and
that they-
soil and
and
everything.
mulch.
It's
No.
still less than half.
It's
Yeah.
less than
Than
half
labor.
of the other proposal.
Well, listen, when it comes to the material, we can price it out. When it comes to labor, we have two proposals. So I'm okay with the second proposal, but I want to know, they gave us a proposal.
They gave us a proposal for that because we're not voting on that tonight. I did not put it on the agenda, but I can bring it for you. It's on my desk. Would you like to see it?
Yeah, I'll take a look.
No, okay, I know a lot of builders that always buys trees and shrubbery, whatever, for the houses in Kings Point and stuff, so maybe I can get in touch with them and see if we can get directly wholesale price from them and save some money on the trees, the plants, and et cetera. So that's something, there's plenty, yeah, so we can price things out and try to get the best price we can.
This is not so bad. It's not so bad. So they're saying for 55
There's
5
soap
gallon.
ladder into it.
So I'm just gonna read this out loud. This is their proposal. Sorry? You hear? Okay. So it's 55 5-gallon willow niches. And then 55 5-gallon Viburnum belly. Is it?
Arboretum,
Viburnum
Bailey.
Bailey comp.
Compost, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
S-
55 gallons of sandberry, purple leaves, or pepper leaf, and then 55 gram Burberry,
Gallon.
55,
Yeah,
what is it?
it's-
This
it
is
says
5
for
gallon,
gallon.
3 gallon?
No,
That's
it's
a 3,
5 gallon.
5 gallon? No,
Oh,
this one.
55 5-gallon.
Right, so it's 55 of those. So the total, let's see what the total is that they're ordering. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, let's say. And then, what is this? 341 gallon.
1 gallon perennials.
So 9, that's a lot. They're ordering
But
about,
perennials,
No, no.
it's 1 gallon, that's not
no,
so bad.
not talking about that's 50, that's
Yeah,
1,
no, it
2,
sounds
3,
like a lot.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, let's say 9. 9, 55, 9 times 55. That's almost 500 also.
It's 500, yeah.
Yeah, it's about 500-600 of those that they're
What
these
is it then?
plants.
500 of what?
So gold
Different
mop
plants.
and different plants.
But they're much lower plants, I think.
Yeah, they are.
It's
I
a-
mean,
it's a-
their plants are very low.
It's an
we see some
assortment of
pictures of
lower
It's
growing
shrubberies.
plants.
They're not.
Mayor, let him bring it up on the screen.
As opposed to the first guy who was putting in
Can you put it on? I
6
can't see.
to 7 foot crepe myrtles.
Yeah, we're gonna put it on the screen in a second.
Let me. You want to say something about this? You haven't seen it yet. We're putting it up.
Yep, but I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
The question is, Rebecca Rosa West, my question is it possible to evaluate what you've been given from one of these planting places without one or two others to compare it to? In other words, the people who are the experts on trees and shrubs and dirt and soil and labor to do all of those things can only be compared to each other. The reason you have to call on other experts. The other experts are the people who compete to get your attention for what they want to do. So the reason that everybody's wandering around in a muddle here is the only person in the room that I know who knows anything about plants is Jean. So everybody else is wandering around wondering what they're talking about. And I think you need more information, that's all.
Okay. So as he mentioned, we did get a bunch of people, and these are the proposals that we've gotten from them. These
I
are
know,
experts.
but if they're not apples to apples,
No, they're not apples to apples, you're right.
They're
But, you
apples
know,
to apples?
they are not apples to
Right,
apples.
that's what I mean.
Right.
So it's hard to decide.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different.
Is there any rendition created of the plan?
Yeah, we did have some.
We had two renditions, one from each, but I think the first one was very tall.
It was tall and it was extremely busy.
Right.
Basically, you put everything within like 2 inches of each other,
Right.
and it
Tall
would.
that would not be safe if we had
They were
tall
crepe
plants.
myrtles, but the crepe myrtles are really too high. They're beautiful, but just too big.
I think what's gonna happen, all
Now,
these things.
could you pull up the rendering that we got from one of them?
I don't, you mean a list?
No, we had a rendering.
Yeah, they gave rendering, both of them gave rendering. But anyway, I mean, those things can change.
I don't have it on this computer,
Okay,
but I have
you
it.
don't have it?
I do have it. It's just I have to. It's gonna
Okay,
take me a few
Let me
moments.
see if I can find it.
I don't see it. When did they send the rendering?
Hold on one second.
Was it in our email?
It was a while ago.
Okay, I can send it to your. So this doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, I haven't seen
You
it.
want to send it to your WhatsApp, or you want to? Yeah.
You want forward? You want to email it to me? I'll put it up right
I
here.
sent it by email, so that way you can post it, put it up.
Send it by email. Let me see
Who
if I
sent
can.
it? Do we know who sent it?
The same guy who did it.
Dolores?
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send you one at a time. Okay.
Which one?
I'm gonna send you from the second guy.
All right. So these are the pictures that you asked. This is.
No, I know, but they want the rendering of what he has done or what he's proposing. So you can do something like that, so you can see. But I don't know if this is.
email was it?
Yeah, I don't remember getting an email.
I remember it. I remember seeing it.
Well, who was it from?
I remember seeing it, but I can't find it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
one
I'm
moment.
sending it
I
to you.
send it to you.
It was it from Abraham?
No, yes, first from me. Yes.
So it
I'm
would
just
have
sending
an
it to you. I
attachment
just
also.
send it to you.
Mhm.
Did you get it?
Not yet.
But anyway, so I mean, it's, yeah, that's it.
What date was that?
Oh, there was another one though.
Yeah, that was the first one that was much bigger.
This is very sad.
Well, those look like boxwoods.
So he has. I think he. I don't know if he can. He has.
Alternates.
Yeah, he can alternate. You can tell. Yeah, but I think
That's
this
like a
is.
juniper or something.
Yeah.
There's no kind of
Well,
safety
can we
barrier.
say something?
Say again.
No
Can I say
safety
something
barrier.
while you've got the picture?
So the
Cars from
county.
crossing over.
So the county, we had a discussion with them when we were putting the new medians. They don't want any barriers because they believe that it's less safe. I don't know why, but actually they said that what we had is against the code. And the reason we kept it because we grandfathered before they changed the code. The new code says that it should be the way it is currently. So, and they're actually also against, you see, these are too big and too busy. The new code also doesn't allow to have barriers in the middle.
This one, the picture that you see, this is
First guy.
from the first proposal.
But it's not safe.
But they grow. They
No,
grow.
but if you tell them we like the lower stuff and not the
Right, so that's the thing. See, the second guy is doing this, pretty
Right.
much the same things, but I think his graphic is not as nice as this
Right.
guy's graphic.
Well, I don't think we saw a graphic.
No, you saw it, the first one that he just put up.
Well, that was it.
Yeah,
this
that's
one.
his graphic.
That's his graphic. It's a crappy graphic, but it's, the flowers are flowers. See, this,
You know, the
this,
garden should have a variance of height. This has at least
no,
low,
so,
medium.
But the problem is
We
once
can't
you
do
start getting
high.
into taller plants, you're obstructing motorists.
But somewhere in between.
And there are people that cross in between, as we know.
well, we're
And
trying, hopefully, that's not gonna
Well,
happen.
but this would
That'll be
stop
the
it.
end of them.
The reason that he's actually proposing boxwood, Korean boxwood like this, is to prevent people from jaywalking in the middle of the street.
If you can just cover the entire thing, right. If you do that, no one's gonna jump over the plants.
That's his goal is.
Which one? The first, the
The
both of
second
them.
one.
Second,
Flores.
right.
Flores and Sons.
Right, that's what I asked him to make sure that
Makes sense.
people don't.
And this is, for example, the same thing with these tall ones.
Okay, the
He's
problem
trying to,
The tall ones that you can't, it's just not right.
It's, doesn't want
also he has this bushes for, and also he has this ones.
So he's gonna put all those, I mean, he has all these things.
It's
mean,
going to be a combination of all different. Again, it's a matter of the labor is a big difference between the first proposal and the second
Right.
proposal.
Plants are
7,000
the
a year.
plants, plants we buy. What is it?
No, I'm talking about the initial
The
planting.
Oh, yeah.
The
The
initial
second is
plant,
much cheaper.
yes.
No, right, the initial is much cheaper,
Even,
and then
even
they
if the village
maintain it
spent
once a week.
35,000 to buy the material, why does he keep talking?
Guys,
Please, we're trying to have a conversation here.
Everybody, please.
If,
Um,
even if the second proposal, even if you spend $35,000 on the material, and then the labor is 35,000, that would be a 70,000 versus
instead of 165,000.
versus 165,000 for the first proposal.
Yeah,
There's no question
I'm
that
sure it's
this
gonna
one,
make it very nice.
this
What?
looks good, but again, this is
this
too
looks
much
good,
for
but
the
listen,
media.
but you have to also realize this looks good because he had a better graphic
Yes.
designer. Not necessarily because if you put the same plants.
Hence $165,000.
Right. Yes, Gene?
Hey, first of all, I can see what he's doing. He's putting as much as he can in because he's charging you for each and every plant, and they love to do that.
That's why it's not a good proposal.
Yeah. The crepe myrtle, while it's very pretty when it's blooming, it doesn't start, it's dead looking. I mean, go by my house and you'll see my crepe myrtle that's in the front yard.
Which one is that?
The tree.
The pink one? The pink one?
The pink,
pink one.
yeah.
Oh.
You're not putting
It doesn't bloom until late.
late summer.
Late July, August is when it blooms. It's dead twigs until then. Go by my house and look at
All right,
it.
so we've seen
No,
it. So
we're
I
not
tell you,
considering it.
so we're not considering it. So one of the things that I
Wait,
told,
no crepe myrtles?
No.
then?
Right.
so one of the things I told I didn't meet the first one, but I met with the second one. One of the things I said I would like to have plants that some are evergreens that stay green all year long, and some that bloom at different times of the summer and spring. So this way we always have something different color, and
Okay,
it's going to be more
forget
colorful.
the crepe myrtles because,
But it's not on it.
We're not considering it.
okay, the yews, you have to be very careful about those. Planting too many yews, you do get an insect and then they'll all be wiped out.
Which one
They
is
also
it?
one.
do grow high.
No, but how many?
No, they're gonna be maintained. They're gonna be maintained.
You're gonna pay to have them maintained?
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
it's
that's
included
fine.
in the price that we're getting, is annual maintenance.
How many hues
So
are
annual
there?
maintenance is a separate.
It's a separate bill, but
Separate.
it's included in the estimate that we get.
Where is the hues?
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Boxwood,
Which one is
forget.
this you're talking about? The Hicks hues?
Yes.
Okay.
What about the boxwood?
Boxwoods, forget, because depending on, there's so many different kinds, but you plough the snow, as you're going down with the snow's gonna go on top of them, they're dead. They really require maintenance, boxwoods. They get the freeze, I've lost 3.
They can take
this
the snow,
past-
they probably can't take the
Wait,
salt.
wait.
Yeah.
I've lost 3 this winter, and we didn't have a bad winter.
Mhm.
I go out literally when it snows, and I have to take the snow off the boxwoods because
It insulates them.
No, it does not. It kills them. And with the snowplow pounding it on top, it's too heavy, it sits there, it turns to ice, and it kills the boxwoods. All the little leaves turn yellow, and you lose them.
Jean, so, like, I know boxwoods are often in cemeteries, so what happens in the cemetery when there's all that snow on
They have boxwoods in the cemetery. They might have the old kind that grow very, very large,
No,
almost
they're
like
very
a tree. But the little ones, they have to be trimmed too all the time if you're going to keep them low.
So
That's
that's
a
what they're
lot
gonna
of
do, so-
maintenance.
Right.
Basically what you're saying, boxwoods are not good for our climate.
Middle of the road.
They're middle of the road.
Yeah, with the
does she have
snow
the list?
plowed right on top of them.
She has this list?
No, she could see it, well, that's why I was pulling it out.
Oh, okay.
essential
What
list.
Jean is saying is you want things that look like they're worry-free to be worry-free.
I don't disagree with her. And
For
this is what we
maintenance.
asked them also. So these are people who are.
Why don't you confer with the park district?
Actually, the,
Have you? Because they know so much, those guys, about plants and what will grow, what won't.
the Audubon Society sent out a pamphlet a couple weeks ago, and they had a list of, different plants that were drought tolerant and, different.
Salt tolerant. It's
Salt
called.
tolerant, yeah. So I kept that list, and, they have New England blazing, I'm looking now at, perennials that will attract native bees, butterflies, pollinators.
You don't want that in the middle of the road.
Well, they'd be pretty.
Bees?
Yes,
It's okay.
but you have to remember when you're doing flowers, because you want the colour, it's maintenance.
Yeah, no,
You've
no,
got
I
it
understand.
blooming today, but next week it's not blooming. Then you've got to go and cut the dead heads off, or they need maintenance. You need something along there that's going to be green in the winter, low, green. I wish I'd brought my son up
But
because he
here
would tell you what to
we have,
put in.
we have maintenance every 2 weeks. I'm sure they'll take care of it.
Every week.
The what?
Every week they're going to maintain.
Every week or two, they're going to maintain, they're coming to take care of it. We're paying for a
Well,
service.
why do we have to pay for that when our guys could do
We're
it?
paying for a service contract with
Who's
people
the
who know how
guys
to
who
deal
are
with
gonna do it?
plants.
Our DPW used to do the knockout roses and those purple flowers.
Okay.
Catmint. That was the catmint.
I think what Jean is saying is you're wandering around a little bit in the dark.
Yeah,
and
it's
you
a
need
lot
good
of money
help
you're
here.
putting out and you don't know what you're putting it out really for. We have wholesale places on the island. I mean, so many of them.
Right.
We
Good
didn't commit to
wholesale.
anything yet, yeah, we didn't commit to anything
They
yet,
would
so
give
we will,
Hicks
You see-
Nursery you
see,
could
if
go
you-
to and
if
get
you-
good
if you
advice.
notice, right, so if you noticed, we don't have any of these things on because this is not really on the agenda to be voted on. What we're voting on, what we need to make sure is who's going to actually do the job.
Well, you only pick 2 people and they don't,
No, you don't pick, you send it out and people respond.
yeah, you're supposed to put a bid for this amount of money.
No, you don't.
Of
Well,
course
if
you
it
do.
goes,
Not
it
for-
depends what it goes up to. What we're doing, well, if we go
What
with
is
the
it?
35,000, we don't have to.
Anything over what,
35.
$20,000 you have to put out a
35.
bid?
35.
You've gone up to 35, okay. Has to go out to bid.
If it goes above 35, you're right. If it doesn't, maybe not.
Well, it's gonna go over 35 the way you're going here.
Plants are not part of the bid.
We're buying the plants.
Oh, you decided on that then?
We're going to buy the plants.
That's what we do.
But you have to know what kind you're going to
Okay.
buy.
Correct.
So why don't you go confer with Hicks?
We will, but that's not part of what
Centrally.
we're doing now.
Well, you better
We're
get a
going with
robot because planting
We're going
is
with the,
now.
we're going with the contractor, right? And then we go and get the right plants.
Yeah, well, don't do like last time when Mitch went and got plants, put them over at the DPW, all the rose bushes and everything, and they died because he didn't get them in till August.
That last time was 7 years ago,
Yeah, I know.
or 8 years ago.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
don't want to make the same,
No.
make the same mistake and waste all that money.
Well, the contractor's gonna need the orders for plants pretty soon and get them in very quickly. Am I correct on that? They're putting these plants in quickly.
Right,
Yeah.
they're waiting for
Who
us to
did
get in,
Great
the right
Neck
away they
Plaza?
put it in.
Down at the Great Neck Plaza with the Best Buy and that, who did that
That's good.
landscaping?
Best Market.
Best
Oh, you're talking about Great Neck Road. I don't know, but it's not particularly nice.
No, it's dead.
No, it's dead.
It's some
yeah.
boxwoods and yeah.
Well, that's what
It
I'm
didn't
worried
last.
about. You're going to get someone that looks all great and nice and green and flowery for the first 2 years, and then, bleh.
Gene, we're trying to get hardy plants that could withstand what they're going to be exposed to. We're not going to be putting in plants that are not going to survive. We're not going to spend money on
But
plants
how
that
will
won't
you
survive.
know? You don't know about plants.
Because when it's time to procure the plants and buy them from the nursery, they're going to tell us what to put in. We're not going to just pick them. None of us have the expertise. I
You're
assume
gonna
the nursery will tell
Then
us.
why don't you use a local nursery from Long Island? Either go to Hicks, go to Santelli, and get advice.
Gene, we are not,
Santelli
you know,
wasn't
I'm sorry,
interested.
but you know, you have to realize, we are discussing apples, you're talking oranges. We are discussing whom we're going to pick to do the planting.
Well,
Not what
okay,
plants.
you just said 2 people, and then one of them says boxwoods when they should know. You don't put boxwoods in
But
that was
along
their-
the
in their
median.
But that's
proposal.
their proposal.
Well, we know you're not going to pick them then. If they propose something
Okay,
stupid
so,
like that,
So this is the story. They do the labor. We choose the plants. They can say whatever they want. We choose the plants.
and where are you going to get that advice from?
But it has nothing to do with the advice. You know what it's like? I tell
You said you're going to pick them. Who's going to tell you what to pick?
Gene, stop, Gene. The issue is, how can you determine who to give a contract to maintain something when we don't know what you're gonna maintain?
It
First, you
doesn't
have to
matter.
decide-
You know what it's like? It
No,
doesn't
no,
matter.
there-
Okay.
Anybody who's a gardener, certainly Gene would tell you, knows that the maintenance that's involved in certain kinds of things is different from the maintenance.
That's
of
very
other
true,
things.
but I think
First you
gardeners.
pick what you want,
Okay.
then
All
you
right.
find
So
something-
anyway, so we're discussing whom we're going from the two that we got after months. We got two people. There's one that makes sense, and we're going to choose that one.
What was the name of that person?
Flores.
Flowers and Sons.
Flores.
F.
Flores.
And he's a
Oh.
local
Flores
guy.
and Sons.
Where are they located?
Great neck.
They
They're-
do great
This
neck.
is
They
right.
do a
They
lot
do
of.
Great Neck. They're all over Great Neck. They're pretty big in Great Neck. So they're local.
Uh-huh.
The labor is cheap comparison. But we'll see what kind of.
Yeah, you could go cheap, but then if it doesn't, here today, gone tomorrow.
Okay.
Be very careful. You
Okay.
left it late to make your decisions. You should have done this in the way ahead to decide and pick out, and then you'd be ready to start planting.
Well, we
get
couldn't
ready now.
get ready until the Nassau County had to finish all the roads. We couldn't.
Oh, I
No,
know,
we-
but you could have had in your head who you was
Well,
going
we
to
only
use.
got
and do-
one bid, and that's
Two-
the one
two.
bid till now. Now we got two. So now we know how to proceed. That's why we pick up Flores, and then by the time we're ready in a
Check
couple
a
weeks.
couple of other villages, see who they used for their medians.
We put out the request and only got 2 responses.
No, I said check
Okay,
other
all right.
villages, ask Chamber of Commerce of
Yes,
other villages.
Sam.
Just,
Yes, please. So people can hear you.
Sam Yellis, 2 Hollies Lane.
You can raise it. You don't have to. Yeah.
Just, how about getting a consultant? I mean, hiring someone or a landscape architect and just talking to somebody who,
I mean,
knows.
to find out what type of plants will last,
Yeah,
it's their websites and their organizations.
And the nurseries.
And
so
nurseries.
you just do it like a do-it-yourself
right.
thing.
Ask the
Okay.
nurseries what plants they recommend to put in there.
And I tell you, by the way, a lot of these are the people that said to pick everyone that we spoke to. I spoke to a bunch of different people. They all say boxwood. You're saying boxwoods won't last, but those are the experts saying. But listen, Gene, they all know we're putting it on the median. Of course, it's going to stay. It's snow and salt and drought. They know that. So those are the people who are saying to pick these. Now you're saying, don't pick it. I'm not. Wait. Right. So what I'm telling you is that we will investigate further to see what else we can do. I don't want anything to die because then it's going to be a whole big deal of changing everything. I'm sure some of them will die just because plants die, but hopefully it's not going to be a mass grave. And in the middle of the Middle Neck Road.
And then the surface is just gonna be like, whatever plantings, mulch and brick on the end or whatever?
Right, so I think,
Not brick, you already have the exterior, you already have the frame,
The molding.
The
for it,
curb.
Yeah.
the curb, and in the middle will be soil,
Uh-huh,
and mulch.
topsoil, and mulch on top.
uh-huh. Oh, completely right to the edge, all just mulch?
Yes.
Because otherwise, it's gonna dry out.
And places for people to cross or no?
Of course. Well,
No,
we,
not in the
I,
not across the plantings.
That's what I mean, so let's say by Everfresh across to, the
There's a-
parking lot
There's already a
behind Ace.
crosswalk there.
there's a crosswalk. I mean, we don't really want people to cross over the plants.
Right, gotcha.
And in the beginning, they may, until they grow, and hopefully when they tall enough, like 2 feet.
That's the whole
And,
point of a boxwood,
Right.
All right, thank you.
prevent people from crossing.
Yeah, I know, but if they're saying the boxwoods die, I mean, we'll look into it again. Okay. So are we going to make a motion to, for any of these guys so we can have something locked in so we can start?
Is there a motion to retain the services of Flores and Sons for the labor portion of their proposal at a price that is not to exceed $35,000?
Also move.
Moved by trustee Hope, seconded by trustee Kashi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Unanimous.
So the snow is also an issue.
The next item on the agenda is a
Skip loans.
Anyway, listen, first we have to get some of them. Okay. What's the next item?
The next item is a tax cert for property located at 803 Middle Neck Road, also known as Estate of John Chamberlain. The years under review are from 2016 from 2022. They are requesting $29,533 with the final assessment for year 2022 for $925,000. Our assessor, Mr. Donato, has spoken to their attorney, as well as Mr. Donato has been in contact with Mr. Gray from Mr. B's office. The final agreed price or the refund is a $700 rather than the $29,000, with the final assessed value of $2 million. That's what they have been negotiated and accepted before going in front of a judge. Of course, according to Mr. Donato, this is the best negotiation and best offer that we could give them and we could accept, rather than going to the judge to see what
Wait, I'm sorry, what did they say that they were?
$700 refund.
700.
So they're saying that they were assessed at,
They were assessed at 1.785 in year 2016, and in 2021 it's up to 2,026,500.
okay.
And they're arguing that really their property is worth only 925,000.
This is the entire building?
This is the entire building, yes.
My God. How the hell does that cost that much?
Well, that is what they're
Are they
claiming.
willing to sell it for that amount?
I don't know about that.
Anybody is a buyer?
Yeah, right. You stand firm.
I think you should buy. 2 million.
So they're saying their assessment should be not 2 million, but under 1 million?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Donato,
Where does the expertise lie on their part?
No, so Donato, who
no,
are,
that's our assessor, not
Right.
their assessor. What
so
Mrs.
basically,
Gilliard, right, is saying is who is their expert that's
well,
saying
whoever
it's
is
at
their expert,
925.
the expert is the one who
Same building.
gets
No,
the,
I'm saying, is it a number of people that are
it doesn't really matter because we're going based on our expert. I mean, I can't believe that they're saying the
No,
whole
it
place
does
is,
matter. It
Sweet
matters
Temptation
because
Bakery? Sweet Temptation.
Is it a number
Right, but
pulled out of the
Sweet
sky, or
Temptation
is
is
it a
another
number
number.
from a legitimate, who knows what?
No, this is one building.
That's
No,
the question.
that's
Bill.
85.
it's,
That's
I
This is
mean,
a number that their attorney has
this is,
proposed.
right, so they're saying, I don't
Okay.
think, I don't think,
So
Proposing
it's
a sum
just
of
Kings
money and
Point.
it's not.
so they're saying, wait a minute, so it was 1785,
1.23 acres.
I
No,
want
it's the
mine
whole
says
thing.
29.
But, the-
It's the whole building.
but you
You're
see
saying the
how it
final
says-
assessment is
Yeah, I see.
925,000? I'll buy it.
Oh, here, you're right.
I think you
Yeah.
should buy it.
Oh, it's missing a zero, by the way.
It's this. I actually think it's the whole building. And then
It's the
the
back.
back.
Okay.
I'm sorry, may I say something?
You may.
Thank
I'll
you.
bring down
Rebecca
the-
Rosenblatt. Whoops. Rebecca Rosenblatt Gilliard, the mic's not on anyway. If you're going to accept what they say, then you can do that for every property in the village.
Okay, so I think,
So in
again,
other words, you don't wanna reduce everybody's assessment by 50% because they say so.
Rebecca, I don't know if you heard, we have an expert that does our assessment.
I know who
That-
it is. I do, I know.
Okay. So he believes that the price is 2 million, not 925,000. Now we can do two things. We can go in front of a judge and spend resources to fight $700, or we can say, fine, we give you $700. What is the smart way of doing it?
You're gonna fine him 700?
No, we're going to return $700, right?
That's the
And
refund.
not go to the court
And spend
and fight it
$5,000.
and spend $5,000 to recoup $700.
Why do you have to go to court? Why don't you write it?
This is a tax cert. That means they sued the village for overvaluation. So the choices are either we settle with them before we go to a trial, or we go to a trial. Now the trial will be very costly because we have to pay Tom Donato, we have to pay village council, exactly. We do have to pay for other witnesses and expert to come and
So we're gonna-
testify.
We'll spend $5,000 to
So-
$10,000 to save $700.
So we,
But is this,
More than
I think-
10,000.
I think I'm asking you, is there a bigger picture here? Is this something where anybody sees that they can do this to the village and therefore this one gets away with it and that one and then that one and
It's,
then that one?
it's actually exceedingly rare. People can do it. But in our village, it's exceedingly rare that we've been getting these.
He says it's rare.
No.
Hold on one second. Yeah, Abraham.
majority of properties go to small claim court. And Mr. Donato also defend the village regarding those. He has a file on every single property in the village. And when the village gets sued on a small claim form, court stating that their value of the property is too high, Mr. Donato also present the judge with proof that his assessment is correct. Then it goes in front of a judge, and he or she makes a decision. That's in a small claim court. These are commercial properties that their lawyer or their counsel has sued the village for overvaluation and over assessment. Tax cert have to do with commercial properties.
Okay.
Homestead properties, they go to small claim court.
So
And
this
this,
is not a homestead property.
correct,
Right. And therefore, this becomes far more costly if we fight it?
correct.
Right.
Because we have to pay Mr. Donato, you have to pay the village council, you have to pay the expert.
My question is, who's right?
Doesn't matter who's
Doesn't
right,
matter.
we can just settle
We paid
this
them-
for
we're paying them
much
a
cheaper
fraction of
than
what they
going to the,
wanted.
to
No, but
take
I'm
trial.
asking who's right? Mr. Donato's right. I mean,
It depends which side of the, which side are you defending? If of the side of the village,
Depends who the
yes.
judge agrees with.
What?
Depends who the judge agrees with. It's a trial.
Well, my understanding is that from a few years' experience, invariably judges side with the municipality, so that's not at the lower court level, not higher. I think it goes up by percentages or something. But I think that, so the issue isn't who will win, it's who will pay to win?
No, the issue is
Do you
how
wanna-
much
yeah.
are we going to
Let's
pay, right, how much are we going to pay to defend it?
Let Peter go.
Bear with me, my voice is not what it usually is. Okay,
I'm sorry, Mr.
that's quite all right. In any event, in commercial properties, it is very common for the owners of those properties to hire attorneys and to sue the municipalities, the village, the town, the county, all of the tax assessing authorities, and claim that the property has been over-assessed. And assessment is not exactly the same as market value. So there are different criteria that can go into that. Mr. Donato is saying that you can't find a precise dollar value for the value of a commercial property. It's not like you can say it is worth exactly $1,872,695.13. There is a range that it's approximately valued at X. Going below Y would be too low, going above Z would be too high. It's somewhere in this range. And what Mr. Donato is saying is that the settlement he's reached is within that range, and it is reasonable to say that this is an approximate value of what the assessment should be. Based on that, and mind you, I believe the paperwork shows he's going up to $2 million as the assessed valuation in 2022, and based on that, there's a $700 refund, and rather than go to trial and argue over whether you should be closer to the top end of the range or the lower end of the range, this makes sense to him as a reasonable settlement of the figure.
So we're not just throwing up our hands and we're taking good advice.
That is correct.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there a motion to accept the proposal, not the proposal, the
Authorize
settlement?
the settlement.
So, I'll move it.
The settlement is moved by Deputy Mayor,
Second.
is seconded by Trustee Mendelson. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 It's unanimous. The next two items are minutes of April 5th and April 19th meetings.
And Mayor, I did review the minutes earlier today.
Thank you.
I could only move half the April 5th minutes, so somebody else may want to move them.
I don't think we can do that.
Well, I'd
Trustee-
rather not. Yeah.
Trustee Kashi,
I'm open.
you can't
Oh,
move the
no, I
second one,
wasn't there.
not the second
I
one.
can. The first one I can move.
It's moved by Trustee Hope for the first set of the minutes on April 5th,
No second.
seconded by Deputy Mayor. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And for the second set of the minutes for April 19, is moved by Trustee Hope,
And seconded by
Trustee Sobel.
Trustee Sobel.
seconded by Deputy Mayor. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Trustee Kashi is abstaining from voting because he wasn't there.
Yes, okay. Second one.
Thank you.
My bad.
Public,
No abstracts?
Nancy's been.
Nancy's been sick for the past
Yeah.
2 weeks, and she'll be out again throughout the end of the week this week.
What does she have?
Can't say.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I
She
thought
does
maybe
not have COVID, but she's okay.
Okay,
She has some pulmonary issues.
I see, I see.
She's great.
Public comment?
Public comments?
More public comments?
Where's that?
Yes.
Here's Linziger, 15 Beach Road. I have a couple of questions. Mr. Clerk Treasurer, is the Moody's thing finally over?
No,
So it's still pending?
correct.
Okay. Another question is there anything new, of any new businesses applied to come into the village, especially at the big office building at 705 Middle Neck or the former Capital One Bank? Have we heard anything? Is anyone coming into
Which
town?
Applications for new businesses.
Where
Oh.
Labor
That's
shares,
We wouldn't necessarily hear about them.
correct.
No, but
We
you
were the
might,
Yankees.
we might have had inquiries here at Village Hall, or we know that.
We would only hear if somebody is looking for a special use or
Yes.
we haven't heard anything, I don't think.
And,
Unless-
and, you know, is this board doing anything to attract a business or a firm to that 705?
Wait, hold on 1 second.
The Capital One, there was one inquiry asking for site plan and a survey from the building department. Other than that, I haven't. But 705 is also it's a private business. I mean, they can rent their office to whoever they want.
I
Not
know that.
necessarily.
And-
It's
and
not
I'm just
necessarily
thinking
requires.
that because the owner invested a lot of money and upgraded the property substantially, I mean, it looks great, but what good is it if there's no tenants in there? And I think it would be a boon to the village if some firm went in there and occupied it, and I would be a boon to this village, and I'm wondering if, you know,
Did they finalize their C of O or not yet?
I believe so.
They finalized the C of O? Do you know?
I did not hear.
We don't know if they finalized the C of O yet.
okay, but still, I mean, it would sure help if
There
this
was
board might be
no,
doing something
there
to
was someone
attract
who came in
a
and
business or
Right.
someone into there, because, I mean, I think it would be a tremendous boon for us and all
you're
that.
absolutely right.
I'm also wondering, as far as the H2M and the other survey of the floodplain, the Piccadilly.
We're having a meeting this Thursday.
Come again?
We're having a meeting this Thursday.
So, has there been any preliminary indication?
They're giving us a presentation this Wednesday, Thursday.
So will that?
Their preliminary presentation is this Thursday.
No, I recall, I mean, the thought was their report would be available in May or in June. Because I'm thinking the residents
this-
might want to know what.
No, the preliminary findings was supposed to be presented to village officials by middle of April.
Oh, so they're already a little late.
They are
but
2 weeks
okay.
late.
Okay, because I'm just thinking, if they, like in the South Shore, where many homes have been raised and all that, if they do recommend that, that's a substantial investment. And, you know, we need to think how that's going to be handled. But if you don't know what they recommend, then I'll ask.
We'll find
about
out Thursday.
No, then I'd like, you know, I hope that you will tell us next time, or they will come, or you'll have a meeting and bring the residents here.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know what they have to present
Sure.
and if they need more time. I'm sure this is I don't know if they're going to come and say this is the final presentation.
Well, I don't know either, but the fact is that they were supposed to have done it, and I'm remembering that, and
Yeah,
wondering
no,
what the
Thursday, we're
story
having a
is.
Thursday, what time was it, 1 o'clock? We have a meeting with them Thursday, 1 o'clock. Right, so the county would also like to meet with them and see what they can do, but I think they already have done, H2M has done their study, and then we're going to bring it to the county as well, and I think we're gonna have a meeting with the county probably the following week, and H2M, and
Good.
see if there's anything more that can be done. We'll see.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, Gene.
Raise the houses and how do you solve the flooding?
Jean Pierce, 44 Arundel Avenue. I'd like to ask the update on the IDA application that was put off this evening. Why was it going to be on the agenda tonight here at the Trustees Board when it's the zoning board that's handling?
So the reason was to give some presentation to public about what the IDA and what they're asking and what the IDA wants to give. That was just a presentation,
Public information.
public information. We believe in public information, correct information.
And their reason for not coming
They don't have to tell me why they're not coming, they just say I'm not coming.
was it advance notice like yesterday or
No.
today?
What
It's
was
this
it?
afternoon, like
This afternoon?
4 o'clock, so that's why I didn't take it off the agenda.
Yeah.
Exactly 4 or 4 o'clock?
A few minutes before 4.
No, we're not being funny. It didn't-
They're
didn't have
being
to-
funny.
You know, no.
It's
not
okay,
in a
it's
mood
not
to
on
be
your,
funny.
it's not on your, go ahead.
I was being serious about it
I apologize.
because we have been going back and forth with this.
But again, you have to
Okay.
realize one
So
thing, Gene.
my patience
The
is getting
IDA
patience
has
is getting-
nothing to do.
thin.
IDA,
but-
Gene, I'm talking. The IDA has nothing to do with our village, with this board. They're,
That's right.
right. What was going to happen, and what I was hoping to happen, is for them to give an information to public, for people to understand why, what is the purpose of IDA, what is it that the IDA does, and what is going on with their project. So they are discussing it with IDA. They may change some things, maybe. I don't know what they're going to do. But then they said we don't want to be presenting as of yet. Whatever reason.
Okay. Meanwhile, as it's going back and forth for so long, and we don't seem to be getting anywhere. Why can't you have them pull down that building and clean up the site?
For the same reason I explained, I think about 10 or 20 times. If I ask them to pull down the building, for whatever reason, right or wrong, stupid or smart, the bank is not going to give them the money they need to build. Why, I don't know. Banks don't like to give, you know,
Loans on
mortgages
unapproved property.
to a raised property.
I can't imagine a bank giving any mortgage on that building as it stands.
That's not up to you or me to decide. That's a banking thing. I can't decide on those. And this is not the first time I've heard it. I've heard it from every single one. So if I go ahead and take over and erase the building or bring it down, shooting ourselves in the leg. Who's going to build it then?
By a piece of land, that's
It's not a piece of
They
land.
can't get
It's a whole.
financing.
They can't get financing. You can't do that. It's not the right thing to do. You're not going to shoot yourself in the face. It's just not the right thing to do. At the foot.
but you have no, we have, the whole village has to look at that, and it could go on another
It's
8
been there
years.
You know
40
why? You know why? Because everyone comes every time we're making one step forward. People come in and it goes 2 steps back.
Oh, no,
Oh yes.
before you came in, we all agreed on the building. We
Right.
all
I
said-
also agree. What
we-
happened to that?
We all agreed.
Yeah, and what happened?
He got greedy. He did-
Who's he?
The owner,
Which owner?
20, 40, 60, right?
Yeah, but who was the owner then?
the same person.
No, it's not the same person.
It was Russian.
No, it wasn't. You see, again, you see what I don't like. You see, Gene, you know what I don't like? Gene, wait, Gene, I tell you.
And we agreed.
Yes, that was the
Then it got
previous
changed,
owner.
And then it got changed again and changed
Right.
again.
So you know why it
But
changes?
why do we have to keep playing along with the game? We say
So what do you
either
want to?
do it or
What is
don't
your
do it.
suggestion?
What's the game plan?
What is your suggestion?
You tell them either they build
Or
get,
or
it's
what?
like peel
No, I
get
want
off
to.
the pot.
Wait. Or what?
Literally.
Or what?
I said peel get off the pot, literally.
Right. And then if they don't pee, what are you going to do?
When you have an unsafe building like that, and it is
Gene,
unsafe.
I don't
you
disagree
have it
with you, but you know
demolished.
what? You have to realize one
And
thing.
the village can do it.
Yes, the village can do a lot of things. The problem is this. First, the owner, the previous owner, came and gave a presentation to this board for 7 units or 9 units. I don't.
9
what-
units.
Was it 7 or 9?
9.
7.
It was
Yeah,
7.
but there was 2 in the back.
Right, but the ones that they were going to build. Do you know why they didn't build it? We gave them a go-ahead right away. You know why they didn't build it?
Actually, he wasn't here.
Yes, I was. I was the one who gave them the. Don't you see, Gene? You see what I don't like?
I
What I
can
don't like.
visualize what it looked
But
like.
Gene, I don't like when people come here and say
It
things
was
that are not
Weitzman,
factual.
Ned
No, it was.
Weitzman's time.
Okay. You, check your facts. Your facts are wrong.
I don't think so.
Yep, absolutely wrong. I was here. This board was here. It was me, Bart, Annie. I think at that time it was Ray Plaxis, and it was
Namdar.
Namdar. He gave a presentation on that thing. It was going to be a Tudor-like.
Tudor-like
Right.
house.
Right. That was us. It wasn't Kreitzman. What happened? It didn't make sense to him, so he sold it because financially it didn't make sense. He came, he bought the place, and then he gave a presentation, and it didn't make sense. Banks didn't want to give finances. Then he came and gave another presentation. Still didn't make sense because he was going to lose money according to the bank. So the banks aren't going to give you money if you're going to lose money. If they're not going to invest in you if it's a losing proposition because it's their money. He's putting in $2 million, they're putting 20, right? So if they go belly up, the bank loses $20 million. So they said no. So they went back to the drawing board and they kept going more and more. And I tell you, one of the things that we're doing we don't realize is that the more we wait, the more the cost goes up and the more we're going to end up paying. So it's either this or we just have to say, okay, fine, do something with it. But you kept saying, we don't like this, we don't like that, and come in a position and stop blocking this and keep blocking every developer that comes in because we don't like the height, we don't like the size. What happens? We're going to pay more in taxes, meaning IDA, because IDA, the way the IDA calculates? IDA calculates, okay, the cost of this project is going to be X amount. In order for it to make sense for anyone to come and take that dilapidated, ugly, unsafe building down and put in something that is presentable and acceptable, it's going to cost X amount. In order for it to make financial sense, this is what IDA does, they have to get this much of tax break. And by the way, I was just thinking about it when I was driving. One of the things that everyone tells me, why don't we give the stores tax breaks? Right? Everyone says,
To make a nicer store.
let them pay less taxes. Well, it's not the village taxes that is killing them. The village taxes for these businesses like 5 to 10% of the taxes. It's not significant. The significant part is the school tax and the county tax. So even if I go ahead and say pay 0 taxes, it's still not going to make a dent in how much they have to pay. So let's say we can get the school and the county to also give them a tax break. Who's going to pay the taxes? No, you tell me. I want to tell me. Who's going to pay the taxes? We are going to pay the taxes. So what does IDA, what is it that IDA do?
We know what they do.
What is it? So tell me. What is it that IDA
We
does?
are against this person getting a tax
You're against this
relief of
person?
so many.
No. You're against this person?
The person that's investing into this building.
Why are you against this
You
person?
don't know who it is.
But
We
why are
don't
you
know
against
who
this
it is.
person?
Because of what they're doing to our village.
What
for
is it
so
that
long,
what is he
playing
doing to a
games
village?
back and forth like
Okay,
this.
well that's
They're
what
not playing games.
Of course
he
they-
wants
why
to.
didn't they come here tonight? Why couldn't they come and talk to us if they were on the agenda? 4 o'clock, we're not
A
going.
lot of people didn't come to talk to us. 4 people on the agenda, backed out.
This one is very important one.
Everyone is very important.
So we're not gonna get anywhere, just like, okay. the
It's
other
not that we're
day-
not getting anywhere. I
Okay.
think we
And
need to
by the way,
we need to examine our
Why
behaviors.
is it
By-
other
by-
towns
By the
pull
by the way,
down
by the way,
dilapidated
since
buildings?
this guy, and whether I support it or not, but since this guy applied for his IDA, interest rates have approximately doubled.
That's
and
not
the
our
cost-
fault.
What?
That's not our fault.
No, it is. It
Why?
is in a way our fault, and I tell you, in some ways, I sometimes blame myself because I didn't come in strong support of the project because there were certain things that I didn't like about the project, right? But I want to tell you, it is our fault, the entire village's fault. Every time that there is one developer that comes in and wants to take some crap out of this village and make it into something better, everybody comes, not everybody, loud people come in and say, oh, we are against this project, it's too big, it doesn't make sense otherwise for them.
We haven't.
Which
made-
one didn't we?
Well,
Tell me
that
one
was-
project that we didn't.
Next,
Millbrook?
Everton.
Everfresh? We didn't on Everfresh?
We've
Give him a
not-
Steve quote.
we've not
Steve
complained
Quo,
about
are you
it.
kidding? People were standing here. Why do we need a 3-story building? That building is never going to be filled. I remember there was a lady here standing and yelling at the board. Why are we?
Not
Sorry?
enough parking.
No, not many people were against it.
It's almost-
Yeah.
He's been-
Right.
Sam, you were in favor of it.
Many
Several
people were against
it.
Not enough
Not enough parking,
parking,
this
it's
and
too
that.
close to this, it's too big, it's too far, it's too this. Listen, guys, we need to realize one thing. You have to realize the reason people, developers, which we need to come in, when you villainize developers and they see that they're going to come here and they're going to get stuck in a web
Well, we
and
don't-
they never go forward, they're not going to come here. They go next door. Listen.
We don't want people coming in and just taking over and saying, we're gonna do this whether you like it or not.
But no one
We
does
don't
that.
Nobody does that.
No one does that. Gene, no one does that. What?
People
What?
go through hell and high water to build anything here. Almost, how many projects, since we had the incentive zoning 8 years ago, approved, how many projects got built under the incentive zoning?
It's because the developers get keep changing.
No,
things. They
Gene,
put the plans
you know
in
why
and
they change?
They want this,
Gene,
they wanna go
Gene,
higher. Look at the
Gene.
one on
Gene,
Allenwood.
Gene,
Now they
since
wanna
this,
go
I'm gonna
higher.
repeat myself. Since this applicant went to the IDA, okay, interest rates have approximately doubled. The cost of money,
My heart bleeds for them.
No, but the
that's
thing
okay,
is,
well, you're gonna end up with a lovely looking village. And you have it. You have what to look at on that corner for probably another 20 years. Because nobody's gonna build there.
20 years. I want it fixed now.
I won't
but
be
you know
around
how
20
you get
years
it
either.
fixed now, Gene? By
Clean it
support, by
You've
support.
got they've got broken window,
No.
broken glass.
No,
down
by
to this
right. So by support, you know why?
I'm afraid
This
you don't
could have
get
been
it.
done. This could have been done if we really
So
thought.
we get the blame. Okay. What about the one on Steamboat Road? Why do we have to keep looking at that burnt out
Same
house?
reason.
Same reason?
Because they can't get. I actually asked Steve to really look into it because that is really getting out of hand. I'm going to speak to Steve.
What's the difference?
Mayor.
The last item that they're waiting for is a boring test. Once they get the result from the boring test, they can go to the BZA and present their
Okay.
plan.
But meanwhile, that dangerous house, burnt out house is standing there.
According to Steve, Steve has to make the decision. I'm not an expert when it comes to dangerous houses or not. Steve is the superintendent and he's in charge. And I can talk to him again tomorrow and see the status of it. Believe
But
me,
if
I
you
don't
do
like
it
that
for
place either.
Then you can do it for the one on North Road.
Yes and no, because you have to realize, have you seen me knocking that one down?
I said if you can do it for one,
But
then
did
do
I?
it for the other.
Can I? Of course I can. The government can do whatever they want, fortunately or unfortunately. But that
But you
you have.
said you can't. North
But
Road,
it's
you
not that I
said we
can't. I think it's not a wise move on our behalf.
I
You see,
think-
if I do it, it's going to cost money, right? Unless you want to go in and do it
and
with
then
your
you put
hand.
then he pays, or you put a lien against the
And then what?
And then what? What's he gonna build?
And then what?
No
You put a
financing.
lien against
And
it, he
Annie,
doesn't pay.
Annie, you need, sorry, why did Gene?
We argue
Imagine,
less too.
imagine I put a lien on that building. Do you think they're going to sell that building for another 100 years? No. So I go ahead and spend $200,000, $150,000 to knock it down.
You sell the lien to someone.
All right, Gene.
They go down to
Yeah,
court
we don't.
by
Okay.
liens,
All
but
right.
anyway.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
So we're gonna leave the one on Steamboat and we're gonna leave the one on North Road.
I'm hoping that we can move forward with these development as soon as possible, so we don't have to leave any of them. But we have to, again, what I'm trying to tell people, the ones who are listening, I'm sure there are going to be a bunch of people who are going to be against this, but not everyone should agree, but we all have to agree on one thing. In order for you to get top A or grade A developers coming here, we have to show them that we are pro development and changing what we have, the old dilapidated village. We have to agree that the buildings that exist, some of them aren't safe, most of them aren't pretty. And it's not going to attract, you're asking, David is asking, what have we done to bring in businesses? You know what a business looks at? When a business wants to come to an area, it's going to look at not only in that building, it's a nice building, right? But it's going to look at the other buildings. There's nothing around it. So what are you going to say? I'm going to come here, I'm going to be the only guy?
Does anybody live
When
here?
you want to go to a mall, when you go to the stores around Macy's, Lord and Taylor, all these other big, Apple, Macy's, well, at that time, Lord and Taylor. You go to, all these big names, Apple. The stores around them have a much higher rent. Why? Because everybody goes to that anchor store. We have zero things here. We have nothing. And I tell you, I fault all of us, the board and the public. Because we are not pro-development. We are just standing every time. It's like, no to this, no to that. And what's going to happen? No one's going to build.
We say no to things
That you don't think makes
zoning
sense.
laws.
But listen, it has
when
to
you
make
go
sense
from
to both
3
people.
stories
It has to make
stories,
sense.
But then they want to go. They always want more and more. Look, I want.
Why
4
do they want
stories.
more?
More money for them.
But otherwise, it doesn't, Gene, the bank does not give them funding. You understand that?
I don't think.
You do understand that nobody builds without bank funding? Do you understand that?
That's
Do you understand that?
Yeah, and I've asked you, not just you personally, I've asked, does he have the funding for this? And if
Again,
he doesn't,
Gene,
we
I don't
can't
know,
get
I
it,
don't know
and
how,
we're wasting all our time.
Gene, I don't understand. Do you get what I'm telling you?
No,
She-
you know
I
what?
don't think she
Talk to
does.
somebody
I don't
that
think
can
she does.
talk a little better than me.
I think you can speak fine. You just need to understand that the funding comes from the bank.
Yes.
And
No,
as
but
int-
And
that
they
means the
don't
bank,
trust
not
this
him.
company, so
What?
they're not gonna give him the money.
Gene, as he waits and interest rates go up and cost of materials go up, okay, his ratios and the chances of making money on this development go down. So
And
by
IDA is
waiting
gonna
and
give him
fighting
50
and
years.
everything else, we are eliminating the possibility that he's going to build.
He's had all these years. to
Oh my
get
God.
out
the-
banks.
okay,
Yes, he's had
all right.
so many years of
guys.
just green lights.
Yes, I'm gonna.
Yes, Karen.
Hi,
Hi.
Karen Pardash. I don't even know my address anymore. 119 Maple Street. Just a couple of comments. First of all, tried and true developers, and I just want to know what makes the developer of the Middle Neck Road, North Road thing a tried and true developer. You know, this is a very, very big project. Does he have any other projects that he has completed? That's a question I would, I probably know the answer, but I just wanted to point that out. And as far as, and I agree, the village is like decrepit, and I have supplied Mr. Haramis with 1 million photographs of storefronts. And years ago, there was talk about maintaining storefronts in a certain way with awnings and having, things look good. And we have, I don't even know, we have storefronts where there's a hair salon here, and they use the next building for their supplies, and it's willy-nilly, looks like you know what. And I brought that to attention, so they hang white paper in the window and whatever, where Carvel used to be. The awning is ripped off, it's disgusting. So yes, what we're talking about on North Road and Middle Neck Road is horrific, it is, and I would love to see that taken down. And I understand from the banking perspective, we can't do that. But can the village do something to have the storefronts are owned by someone. If they can't be occupied right now, because I wouldn't want to rent a store next to one of these ugly places. Is there something we can do to have the landlords be responsible for having the facades kept nicely? And I didn't bring any of the photographs, so,
We don't need them.
but you know what it
So
is.
the
you live here.
code,
We know.
actually it's in the code. But I think one of the things we all have to understand, it's the same thing when people come in and say, listen, my development is, or my house is delayed because of COVID. I got delayed because I don't have funding. Yes, we can enforce it, but what is that enforcement going to do? It's going to cause a lot of suffering. I think one of the things, and
I don't agree. I think, Mr. Mayor, if you say, take off the awning where there was Carvel and clean, really.
the awning on Carville is still there, by the way?
The awning is still there. It's ripped. It doesn't say Carvel. It's it's a ripped up awning, what's left, and a frame. And the building, there's not occupied, but I think there's that Hero Subs place next door, and they use it for storage. And they've covered the window a little bit because Mr. Haramis probably gave them a fine to do so. But if you walk down Middle Neck Road, it's just ugly. And honestly,
it's ugly.
for any, walk down Middle Neck Road, there's a hair salon also in that strip next to the massage parlor over
We
there.
all walk down Middle Neck Road.
Right,
We all
and,
know.
and if you say to, look, if you came to
Drugstores.
my house and you say, hang some nice curtains in your window and mow your lawn, I would do that if it makes a difference for my whole neighborhood. So these are little things that I don't think is a hardship
Karen,
for
I
any.
agree with you. I don't know if they will, because I tell you, one of the things, how many times did we go after this guy? I'm not going to say which store. They say we are within the code.
Well, then, there's certain there's certain things, like, for example.
Even if we change the code, they grandfathered in those codes.
But there should be something, because if we're saying that we can't attract businesses because nobody wants to rent for a lot of money next to a slummy building, then we really have to do something.
Right. So I think one of the things that I think we can do, when someone like Steve Coe, who was building south of Everfresh,
Yeah, I know.
one of the reasons we were all for it was because it was going to take that ugly area and put something there. And I do believe the moment that one is built, there's going to be more people coming wanting
Not
to build.
necessarily looking to build,
Well,
I'm just saying, taking the storefronts
well,
that we have
But it's not.
and
it's-
just
right.
make them,
But
you
it's
know,
It's a
a
cost.
process.
right.
It's
Okay.
a cost.
It's not just make this storefront do this. You have to build up around it as well. The surrounding areas have to look a certain way.
And now we're gonna have our nice medians with our, hopefully, make it attractive. But I'm just saying, it's like it's a shame to walk.
I don't disagree with you.
It's just a
I
shame.
really don't disagree with you, and I think that every time I speak to them, all they say is that we have to spend all this money, whatever money that is, and we can't increase our rent because the taxes are too high. If you speak to any of them, go speak to the owners.
I'd happily speak to the owners.
But what do they say?
I don't know.
They can't. No one's making enough money. The rent is too low, or the
Well, for
two rents
example,
too high.
next
The
to
taxes are too
Subplace-
high.
Next to Subplace, they're renting out a building, so they're using the building, they're paying rent for that building. Why can it not be
They're
maintained?
probably paying a fraction month to month until they can get a proper tenant. They're letting somebody use it for storage because they're getting something rather than nothing.
I think
I'm
we-
sure if they can get a proper tenant at full rent, they would get rid of the storage and get a proper tenant.
But
The
there's
problem
still
is that the
very-
rents are very high
Right.
because, amongst other things, the commercial tax is very high. And so in order to rent out any of these storefronts for a landlord to actually make a profit, which is okay that they do, the rents are just too high for most retail establishments to survive.
We really need, I think, one of the messages that we need a couple of anchor buildings, anchor stores, whatever it is, to come in and then change one area. And I do believe the moment you change one area and you're going to, not one store,
Right.
one area, that there's going to be enough traffic, you don't have to do anything else. You just stand back. And that's why I think it's very important. North Road, Guth Isle, that whole section,
That's too
that whole area up north, when it's almost no traffic, if you can increase the traffic up north, everything on its path will also get some trickling down effect. And then when people see there's a lot of people moving up here and there's a lot of traffic here, I'm going to have to make my store better to be able to compete with these guys because otherwise I can't. And now I have enough foot traffic that I can. But if we can't be saying no to every darn thing that comes in front of us because it's instead of 3 stories, it's 4, and there are 4-story buildings in our village. It's not that this is the first time. We have other 4-story buildings. We're not putting a 6 or 7 or 8-story building in. People go, oh, high rises are coming to Great Neck. What high rises? Are we redefining the meaning of high rise?
She's saying get a broom and soap and water and clean up the windows, clean up the fronts of the stores.
It's not.
that
I
are
don't
there
think it's
now,
because
and
the
it's up to
windows
the
are
landlord
dirty.
No,
to do
I
it.
think
It
it's
is.
because the stores are just tired.
They are tired, yes, I do
The,
agree
the,
with
the
tired.
signs,
But I
I
keep
can
my
go ahead and ask them
house
to change the
clean.
sign. You see, I can go ahead and ask them to change the sign. But if you look at the facade of the building, it's old. It's from 1960s. It's not something that is acceptable to the new people. It's not the new design. It's like wearing a suit from 1940s with these, wide,
It'll come back.
bell bottoms.
No, but
You
also,
don't do that
look
anymore.
at
It's
the-
not. It's not. in.
look at the liquor store. Look at the dollar store.
Well, like,
How
look,
many dollar items do you have to sell
Right.
to pay your rent, your employees, your insurance, how many bottles of wine? How much profit is he making on a bottle of wine?
That's a good landlord that owns Dollar Store.
Okay, but
I know him.
we all know him,
He
and we
pays
all
off-
root for him.
he
But I'm just
puts
saying,
coronavirus
but a lot of these
off
stores
the
are
rest of
selling
the people.
sunflower seeds or what? I don't know how many
But he keeps
things.
it clean.
Okay.
Doesn't
Anyway,
he?
yeah, just keep interrupting. It's okay.
What do you do it to me? All the windows are clean. You don't
Okay.
see garbage out front.
Gene, I think one thing that we have to realize, can we go ahead and try to ask the DPW to clean the Middle Neck Road
No.
more? Yes, we can. We can. Oh, wait, no. Why can't we ask them to do it? Yes, let's say we can. But do you think that is going to bring tenants? No. Unless you go ahead and change a significant portion of one area, There's no way you can go and make this guy, listen, I want you to fix your store. And let's say he says, you know what, okay, fine, you know what, out of the goodness of my heart, because I really want to help the village, I'm going to change the sign. What about the store the next door store? This is my sign, this is the way it's been for the past 20 years, 5 years, 10 years, I'm not going to do it.
I have
The whole
another
strip
thought.
where Carvel was, is that all the same landlord? Do you know?
I don't know. No, there's 3 or 4 different landlords.
I have another thought. How far into IDA is Avalon Bay? 7 years into?
7?
I think you're 17.
But what are they paying now?
What it be the village?
No, in total taxes.
About 650,000 total.
Okay, so Avalon Bay, when they went for their IDA, of course everybody had a conniption. How dare you give this developer an IDA and the break? They're now paying $650,000 a year in taxes. That takes a tremendous burden. That's non-homestead. Now, the burden of non-homestead, which includes those storefronts, is spread out among Avalon Bay. The other developments that will come in will take the burden off these stores. Okay, we'll be able to get better tenants, perhaps. I don't know. Okay, but we have to think about the future. Great Neck Village has a future. Avalon Bay, when they went for the IDA, everybody can only see today. Oh, they're only paying this much tax. They're only paying this much tax next year. But eventually, they pay a lot of tax. They pay a lot of taxes. And any of these developments are going to pay much more taxes and help out, spread the burden of these taxes from the non-homestead so that maybe we get better stuff.
But by the way, I want to say something. When we, before the presentation, the Gesher was supposed to give a presentation. One of the things I looked at, when they are done with their project, with IDA, the moment they start paying full, they're going to pay about $1 million in taxes. $1 million in total taxes they're going to pay. In 5 years into their IDA, they're going to be paying as much as Avalon pays per unit after 15 years. And yet, we are all against it.
After 5 years. Yes.
5 years. If they would have, let's say they would get the IDA now, and that's what I'm upset about, because what we're doing, we just say, we don't want them to get, it's tax, people are going on Facebook saying this nonsense, tax exempt. It's not tax exempt. It's an IDA.
But Karen's not talking about IDA, she's talking
I am
It's
talking
all
about
part of
IDA.
the same
I am
conversation.
talking about IDA. The reason I'm talking about IDA is because the reason things aren't moving forward is because there are a bunch because there are a bunch of people out there spreading false information, saying that this is going to, we're going to have to pay, they're not going to pay any taxes. First of all, they're going to pay more taxes the next year after they finish that they're paying now. 1. 2, if you go ahead and calculate it on their, the scale, you calculate, you compare this scale. Avalon Bay is 191 units. This one is 60 units. Avalon is going to pay about $1 million. They're going to pay about $960,000.
For a third of the units.
For a third of the units. They're going to reach the level per unit that Avalon pays after they reach maturity in 5 years. And yet we are going against it. No, we don't want.
Why does the school district
Why?
say that they can't recover the cost of, let's say they're going to have 7 children in the building, which we don't believe.
The school district has been losing student population.
No, we haven't.
This year we went down 1.5%.
They went down 1.5%. Okay? The money helps the school much more than the nominal additional students hurt the school.
Also, you have to realize one thing that Bart said today. Those kids will go to JFK. They're not going to go to
Baker.
They're not going to go to Baker, which is overpopulated.
if they're religious or not.
If they're religious, then it's
Then
not going to
that's
cost
not
you
an
a
issue.
penny.
Is that an issue?
Okay?
But JFK is not an overcrowded institution.
Right. And the other
My
thing is-
child went to JFK, and
Still not.
it was hard to find people walking in the hallways there sometimes.
So when people say it's definitely not going to affect the school. And the reason we say about 7 or 8 is because we have apartments that are similar in the same area that are producing the same number of students. So unless they're going to have an advertisement that, listen, all the students from all around the place to come here, it's not going to happen. It's usually, if you look at Avalon Bay, Avalon is producing 33 students, 191 units. So divide that, if you compare, it's about 6 or 7 students for this size. So if that's what's going to be. So I don't think that, again, I feel bad that this took this long, and I blame us. I blame the board. I blame myself. I blame people who came here and really spoke against it. I blame mostly people who actually falsified facts, said lies on Facebook, saying things that are absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. And what happens? People start getting scared. Oh my God, these people are coming 90 units, 60 units, and they pay no taxes? How is that possible?
I mean, honestly, I've been putting things on Facebook, but really look at how many people show up. There's not that much opposition
No.
that's going to go through.
But you know something? When you put something on Facebook and it starts scaring people, the reason I wanted them to have a presentation was to really, not for the people who necessarily come here, because we are not representing so many people. That's, first of all, it's live. It's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on the village's website. People see the actual fact. I want people to vote and to understand what the facts are, not what the feeling says. Not because, I don't like this person, or I don't like this project because it's too close to my home, or it's using somebody else's dry well, or whatever that is. That should not be the reason. BZA said yes. It's over. We approved the facade. Over. IDA has to sit down and decide what kind of a break they want to give them. That's it. And the fact that IDA has dragged their leg for so long, I tell you why. Because somebody scared people and said this is going to be tax exempt and they're not going to pay taxes for 20 years or 30 years, whatever it is. 100 people wrote a letter to IDA against this project. And the person who's running IDA, instead of using his sechel and saying that this is what's going to be because it makes sense, he says, people are against it. You don't do that. You don't make decisions based on people who are not properly educated. And again, I am not saying I am the guru of IDA, but I looked into it. And unfortunately, people didn't. And that's why it happened. Anyway, but I think if we want Great Neck to become, again, revitalized and something that we're all proud of, we really have to put our head together and say, okay, fine, there's certain things that we have to accept. IDA is part of it. I can't do anything with that. Thank you,
How
Karen.
come other villages, like Westbury, that was such a poor village.
And how do you know they didn't get IDA?
Of course they did.
But why are we keep talking about the IDA? That was off the agenda for tonight.
You brought it up,
You
Jean.
seem to be, yes, but it's all about this one corner. What about the rest of it? Forget this one
Okay, so you know what you
corner.
should do?
Let's,
So bring them
no,
to
you
the table.
get
I
in
have to bring them to the table?
You have to get in contact with the landlords and say, hey, guys, you need to clean up the mess. You need to
That I
clean
can
the
ask
windows.
Steve to go around. We did. But anyway, it's not, it's the, if they're against, if this is not, Jean, if they're not against the code, there's not so much you can do.
Isn't it, aren't we supposed to have clean windows?
I don't know if the code says you should have clean windows.
I think so.
I don't know, what is defined clean? I don't know. I think Steve has to take a look into it. Yeah. We'll ask Steve to look into see who doesn't have clean windows.
At one time, they said any vacant store was to have clean windows, no paper at the windows, and possibly put a painting in the window or something in to make
I don't know if
it
that
look
was ever a
presentable.
code. And unless we change the code.
So you have no influence on the businessmen here, the business owners?
If they're
As a
against the
village
code,
board, you have no influence on them.
If they're against the code, you can. If they're not against the code, we can talk to them.
Why don't we form a businessmen's association like we used to have?
Okay, we'll take that into consideration. But I don't know if that's the way that we can fix things. I hope that was, well, we'll see.
I don't get how other villages can,
Which other villages?
well, I just
Plaza?
named Westbury.
Okay.
Nobody's
You
fighting
know
those
You see,
Long Island, you see
Westbury,
up at
you
Sayville,
have to
other
realize one
villages,
thing.
you see
Westbury got significant grant just because of the demographics. One. Two, IDA gave them almost carte blanche. Everything.
Nobody's
And
fighting.
you
They
know
built like
something?
crazy in
Nobody fought them. Not like here. Not like here. Not like here. Not like here, Gene. Gene, if every time
Keep going.
the building wants to do this, the developers come in and we stop them, that's what's going to happen. And I tell you, I feel bad because, again, I fault this board, I fault myself, and I fault the people who just constantly go against everything that comes to the village. You're saying that people were not against Steve Cow? When he came in, Stephen Cow. Steve Quo. Not really?
Well, how did he
Yeah,
get?
they were just a little.
Not
against
as many, not as many, because it's only 10 units. 3 floors. Why do we need 3 floors?
but it was
We're
also
going to use the
parking.
water.
It
We're
was
going to
the
create
parking.
traffic. We're going to
Right.
take up parking.
You don't
Why do you have to be
remember?
so tall? Why do you have to have a terrace? Why do you have to do this?
And 1, 2, 3, he got everything approved.
One,
It
two,
wasn't
three.
1, 2, 3. If that's 1, 2, 3 to you, I don't know. Then this is what is Shem Tov is. But why? Because he didn't go to IDA. Because he's only doing 10 units. We need to really stop, instead of just pointing fingers as everyone that comes to do something in our village, just look at ourselves a little bit also. I tell you, I thought about it for the past couple of days. We made a huge mistake. We made a mistake. All of us made a mistake. The board made a mistake. The people who come here and constantly go against every possible developer that comes in and say things. Listen, if it's something's too close, too tall, yes, you just direct them. But to go against everything that has come into our village, everything that has come to our village,
Gene, were
not
you,
one thing did we say, okay, great, it's a great idea.
were you
Yes,
in-
after the fact, everything is great. But
did you
during,
support? Did
it
you
isn't.
support the building at Oxford Plaza, Arundel, and Middle Neck?
That was years ago.
Yes, I believe you were very against that.
I wasn't against the whole thing. They took away retail, took away the deli.
Took away what retail? We have empty stores everywhere. I don't think any retail suffered.
It was a few.
There was a video store there.
It is a lovely, quiet corner.
Which one?
Oxford Gardens? It was a funeral home.
Pizza place.
They,
It was a funeral
Oh,
home.
down,
they,
down the
if it was worth it for them, they would move across the street to an empty store. It is a lovely, quiet corner.
That was a little video.
It doesn't produce big traffic. It's just a lovely, quiet corner building. It doesn't offend anybody. Avalon Bay, lovely, quiet building. These are the, and these,
No. It was a video store, but it was not
Okay.
Blockbuster. It was like a no-name.
okay. And these buildings are contributing to our tax base, to our shopper base. I mean,
It was a no-name. It was a nice store, though. He also developed pictures, and he did a lot of stuff. Frames, he sold frames. It was a nice store.
They do a beautiful job. Their windows are clean, they change their windows, they put flowers in, they go out and sweep the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what you pay for.
Before
Rainbow
Steve-
is,
You went
right?
Yeah. Hey, you want to say that Monday night before?
Yes, I'm going to have a meeting Monday night. I hope the board can meet here, 6 o'clock, from 6 to 7. We're going to have another conversation for people who actually want to come and have ideas or discuss anything.
What is this, meet the mayor?
Meet the coffee with the mayor
where's it
and the board. Here,
When?
What?
Monday,
This Monday?
Monday night. This month, coming Monday
May-
night.
What time?
6, 9th,
Will it be
May
coffee?
9th, with coffee and cookies.
we should really meet at Baker Hill Tavern once or twice.
Okay.
How about pizza? 512 is also shredding.
512 shredding,
That's
Oh, I
Wednesday.
have
3 to 7?
Thursday.
3 to 7, right? 3 to 7? 3 to 7.
512?
Someone posted
sure.
it on the sisterhood. Someone posted it on.
Move to
my
adjourn?
sisterhood app.
Second.
The WhatsApp
Okay.
group.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, no.
Abraham, I have a small question.
No, no, it's just